So whether we realize it or not, all day long we have all this information that's just flying in front of our faces, in addition to the stuff that was already up there, all of our memories and all of our random thoughts that just came up out of nowhere. If we had some of those Wonder Woman wristbands so that we could just fight it off like pew 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 pew, that would be dope. But we don't. And if you're anything like me, you have too much information just whizzing around in there all at once, and your brain is just working overtime trying to process it all and make sense of it all, and that can cause you to feel really tired, stressed out, and just also it could make you feel cranky and just not a very nice person. So what do? I'll tell you what you do. You pull your crusty little self out of bed, you turn the lights on so you can see what you're doing, and you get your journal out and you do a brain dump. Yes, you do a brain dump, aka free writing, aka morning pages, aka stream of consciousness writing. All you do is write. You don't have to worry about sentence structure. You're not trying to be the next Shonda Rhimes. This isn't Bridgerton. All you do is just put your thoughts onto the page. If you start a brain dump right before a deep focus productivity session, you're trying to get stuff done. If you do that before, then once you are in that deep focus, you will not get distracted as easily. And for planning purposes, like when I do my weekly spreads on Sunday and I want to make sure that I have my to-do list and everything together, sometimes it does help to do just a 5-minute brain dump just to make sure that I have all of those tasks that I've been thinking about and all of those calendared things in the future, make sure that it's on the page and I can start to make lists and start to organize it from there, set up my calendar, whatever I need to do. It helps you gain perspective and it helps you realize that your little problems are just a grain of sand in the ether and nothingness of life. We are dust in the wind. So yeah, it's like when you are on an airplane and you're up above the clouds at 35,000 feet and then the clouds part and you happen to see some cars driving around and it's like, oh, look at them, they're so little, they're like ants, they're nothing, I'm Godzilla. So the greatest benefit of brain dumping is stress relief. Once you unleash, inflict, release, whatever you want to call it, your thoughts and your feelings and your emotions onto the page, I promise you, you will start to feel the weight of the world come off of your shoulders and fly away. But yeah, you wouldn't think that your thoughts and feelings and emotions weigh anything. Of course, why would you think that? But I promise you that once you stand up from that chair after you brain dump, you will feel lighter. It's facts. And it's so convenient and affordable. You can brain dump in the morning. You can brain dump at night. You can brain dump on the bus on the way home from work. All you need is a pen and a notebook and some sweet, sweet time to yourself or some headphones to just ignore everyone. Shutty. Before we continue though, I do have a confession to make. I used to brain dump almost every day up until about a month and a half ago when, I don't know, I was going through some things and I was just feeling some types of ways. It got to the point where I was just writing about the same little problems and the same little feelings over and over and over again. It made me feel worse and I just ended up putting my notebook aside and just not picking it up for several weeks actually, and so now I am coming back to it. My brain dumpy journal is actually this one, so I do that in the mornings, and yeah, I put it away for a long time, but I'm glad to be back. And later on in the video I'm going to share with you what I've been doing to stop ruminating. So I kind of struggled to think of 3 methods of brain dumping because the whole thing in itself is kind of unstructured and you're just supposed to do whatever you want. But I did manage to bring you 3 methods. One way to do it is to time yourself. So you can give yourself a set period of time in which you are going to just let all your thoughts out onto the page. So for me, anywhere between usually 5 to 20 minutes is where I usually find myself. But some people, this makes my hand hurt just to say, but some people can go all the way up until an hour of just writing nonstop. I don't know how they do that. But yeah, I would say anywhere between 10 to 20 minutes tends to be my sweet spot. And then from there, I just use the timer on my laptop or on my phone, and I try to hide the numbers. I either flip the phone over or I just close the laptop if it'll let me do that and still run the timer. Sometimes it does, I don't know. So I do that, and that way I'm not looking at the clock and watching the time go down, because that could be stressful in itself. You're like, oh gosh, I gotta make sure that I get everything out in that time. Or you may just be wondering, oh my gosh, how much longer? But yes, just write until you hear the timer go off. And that is it for the day. And another way to do it is to just decide in advance how many pages you're going to write. So you're not worried about time, you're just worried about filling up that set amount of pages. And another way to brain dump is to just keep writing and writing and writing. You're not going to worry about page counts, you're not going to worry about timers. You just keep writing and writing and writing until your hand just cramps up and it just falls right off. I don't want you to feel as though you have to follow some sort of structure or any sort of guidelines or rules if you are doing a brain dump, or ever when you're writing in your journal. More is better when you write, because it's just helping release everything and maybe helping things kind of organize themselves and process and work themselves out. If you only write for 10 minutes and you had intended to write for 20 minutes, it's okay. No one's going to arrest you. It's fine. Don't go breaking your hand. But you don't want to hear all that, because I know what you're going to say next. But Alecia, I don't know what to write about. You're kind of missing the point. The whole point of a brain dump is to take whatever, literally whatever is in your mind, and you write it down. So, do you not have anything going on up there? Are you okay? Are you feeling all right? Are you dehydrated? Do you need a glass of water? Okay, fine. You are drawing a blank. What I want you to do is I want you to find just some very basic, simple prompts for yourself. Something around the house. I want it to be a word or a picture, or maybe a sentence that you read in a magazine. Anything that is small, that's not going to I guess yes, so we don't want you to, I guess, introduce new thoughts, if that makes sense. Like, yes, okay, we want something to get the ball rolling if you truly are feeling just empty inside, but at the same time, the whole purpose of this is output versus input. If I tell you to write about kittens for 5 minutes, then you're going to write about beautiful, cute kittens. And you won't write about doing taxes, which is what was really on your mind to begin with. So you're probably tired of hearing me say this, but the important thing is to just keep on writing. And if you get stuck, one thing that I like to do is just write, I don't know what to write about, or I got nothing. And you just keep writing those until something pops up. And I promise you it will. It also helps to make yourself as physically comfortable as possible. So yeah, go ahead and throw on your sweatpants, get in your pajamas, put on those ratty old slippers you like. And then of course you gotta have your beverages. So what I like to do is I like a hot coffee in the morning, and then in the afternoon I transition over to a sparkly water, and simultaneously with all of that, I gotta have just a plain filtered water. And that is why I have the bladder of a 5-year-old. But you didn't need to know about my bladder. I'm going to finally tell you about how I stopped ruminating in my journal. More or less, I still do it sometimes. So one thing that I've been trying in recent weeks to stop the ruminating is just to simply make myself more aware that I'm doing that, because sometimes I just do the brain dumps and I don't go back a few days later just to see if there are any recurring patterns, if there are any things that I keep worrying about. Yeah, I do like to go back and look at my journals, but usually that's months later or years later. So I've started recently going back and looking maybe once a week or so just to see, are there any things that I just keep talking about and that I need to stop talking about, and that I need to either fix or move on with. Another thing I'm playing with is only allowing myself to talk about that thing that I keep ruminating about for 1 minute. So I can just go crazy for that 1 minute. And then, so if I need to use my timer, I do that. And then once that minute's up, then I have to change the subject and talk about something else. That's a little more effort than what you should probably be putting in when you're doing a brain dump. A lot of the stuff that I'm saying is, but just that little shift can help you get out of the swamp and help you start to think about other things. Or you could take all of those negative thoughts and you can harness them and mold them and play with them as though you were a kitten playing with a ball of yarn. Another thing you can try, this is not a new idea, I didn't make this up, but just make a list of all of those things that are stressing you out, that you're worried about. Make 2 columns on your page and you'll make a list of all of those things. And then on the other side, I want you to use a different colored pen or a different colored marker and just have a conversation with yourself. So on the other side of the page, you will just pretend as though you are your best friend listening to yourself go on and on about these problems, and then just start to ask yourself, oh, well, why is that happening? Why did you do that? Where did that come from? Why do you think that? That doesn't sound right. Do you go back to your past? Have you always done that? No, that's not true. So start to have that dialogue with yourself. Those are the things I've been trying to stop the rumination, stop those intrusive thoughts, those repetitive thoughts. And I'm so happy that I have, because now I can brain dump again and I know how to handle things better when that happens, when I start to just focus on one problem to the exclusion of everything else that's going on in my life. That's not good. We don't want that. Okay, I hope this video was helpful as you start to brain dump, aka free writing, aka morning pages, aka stream of consciousness writing, and just be a little more free in your journaling practice. And I hope that you will join me next Thursday for our next journaling technique. It's so top secret, I can't tell you what it is. But before that, this coming Sunday, as I do every Sunday, I will be doing a planning session in my bullet journal, and I'll be setting up my weekly spread and getting ready for the week. So I hope you can join me for that as well. And please subscribe to my channel if you are enjoying this content. I will have much more in the future. And like this video if you liked it. All right, thank you very much. Bye.